Look at that. 4 million people saw that tweet. Can you fucking believe that? I'm gonna be honest. Like, I went to Sonic yesterday. I got myself, oh, there it is. I got myself one of the big boys here. And I was sitting there at the Sonic drive-thru and I just tapped that shit out. Most people's idea of the government, and this is like, there are people that need help for stuff, right? Like food stamps, etc. But like, assuming that like you are financially stable, the best government is no government. You don't want to have the government involved with you. You don't want to have them telling you what to do. You don't want to have them trying to make rules for you, arbitrate around what you can and can't do, etc. That's what it is. Didn't they just give the rights back to the states? Yeah, but I don't think that's a good thing, because if you do that, then you're gonna have half the fucking states that make the shit illegal. Now, I do think that people can make an argument that, like, you know, okay, it's like the abortion thing. I'll talk about this just for a little bit. I saw this tweet yesterday, or it was today. This is really, this is pretty bad. I don't think that they should tweet stuff out like this. I think this is despicable. I do. Kotaku made a tweet and they said how to add the U.S. Supreme Court justices to Minecraft for no reason at all. This is awful. And like, this is the kind of stuff that, in my opinion, I think they should take this down. Like, this is a take it down and apologize type of a tweet, man. Is that bad? I think it is bad, because the implication behind it, I think there's a very, very clear and obvious implication behind it, is so you can somehow go through and like kill them in Minecraft or like that. It's very clear that the message that they were trying to send is not a good one. And they're coping, fuck them, they deserve it. No, because here's the problem, okay? This is what a lot of people can never fucking realize whenever they're on the losing side of something, is that whenever you escalate things to where it's okay to simulate violence against people, they're gonna do that to you. What do you think? This is gonna be the only time that this ever happens? No, they're gonna do this to you. Yeah, that's all there is to it. You're putting it on the table. Yeah, having emotional maturity of a child has gone mainstream. It actually has. Well, this isn't about having emotional maturity. This is about having any level of fucking decency. It's like if we allow people to just, whenever they don't like something, they can just promote the you know, the implication of physical violence against them through proxy. This is disgusting. This is not something that should be promoted. These are officials. This is our highest court in the world. And the same people, like, I can guarantee you that if these people, if somebody had upheld, let's say let's use it in another one, right? Fuck them judges. It doesn't matter. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean you get to fucking threaten to kill them. That's not the way the world works, man. I'm sorry. Because if you think that's the way the world works, there's countries in Africa that do that, and you don't want to fucking live there. Because it's a goddamn terrible place. It's a terrible fucking place. You can't live in a world like that. It's nuts, man. People die because of the law. Well, then you have to change it because of the law. What do you think is going to happen? Like, I think that there are so many people can't protest near their homes and they're untouchable. Supreme Court needs serious reform. You shouldn't be able to protest in somebody's backyard. You shouldn't be able to protest at somebody's house. I don't think this is a good thing. This is not helpful for anybody. This is intimidation and it's escalation, and it does nobody any favors. I don't like that at all. Please explain the like on the tweet for the noobs. I do that to just add it onto my list so I can see and aggregate things. Yeah, this is no. Why would you go to their house? You're just trying to intimidate them and their family. This is not a good thing at all. There is a legal process to having things changed and having things done differently in the country. If you go around that legal process and you think that, oh, I am so upset about this, I'm going to subvert the process and just fucking burn the whole system down, don't be surprised whenever somebody else afterwards comes and does that to you. It's a bad system. You can't have people doing this. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Process is a joke. It's still a process, though. Just because you don't like the process doesn't mean you get to ignore it. That's not the way the world goes. Everybody doesn't like the process sometimes. That's the way it goes. Public property doesn't mean you have to threaten their entire families. Yes, of course not. We've changed the system. Yeah, of course people have changed the system, but there is a process to changing the system. The court subverted its own process by ignoring precedent. No, I think that the court decided what they decided. Now, I will be honest. I think this is a bad decision. I think that they should just make a law and say you can get abortions. That's all there is to it. But what I'm saying is that making tweets like this, I think this is really, really bad. Like, this is really, really bad. And I would say that, here's the thing, and here's the logic behind one of this. It's bad taste. It's awesome. It's awful. It's very bad taste. If somebody went and they killed one of the Supreme Court justices, right? Let's just play this out, right? Somebody goes out and they kill one of the Supreme Court justices, and it's found that Kotaku, they read a lot of Kotaku. Would Kotaku be held liable for this potentially? I think that they could. I absolutely think so. By saying something like this, I think any lawyer in the country could argue that this is very clearly advocating for violence by proxy. It is very clearly advocating. Is there anybody who's going to be so intellectually dishonest to say that this is not? Very hard to prove, especially as a media company. It is very hard to prove, but I think everybody knows it is. Has anyone ever done something like that in history? Has anybody ever done? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. There's many of the Buffalo shooter. I think that one of the big reasons why he did that was he got radicalized online. It's absolutely because of online stuff. I think that's clearly a factor. It's inciting hatred. People do this when it's against stuff Kotaku would normally like. Yeah, same of any one of your viewers, dude. Well, I'm not telling anybody to kill anybody. That's the difference. Feigning ignorance, but no one's stupid enough to believe they didn't know what they were insinuating. Everybody knows what they were insinuating. This kind of stuff should not happen. Like, yeah, the violent undertone is very clear to see. This is really, really bad. And I think it's a disgrace that Kotaku tweeted this out. This is awful. And that's basically, that's one thing that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to make sure, because I see this stuff, and somehow this just gets by. It's insane. It's insane that this gets by. I can't believe it. Founding outrage to the next level? Well, I don't know about that. It's some 4chan shit. Stop selling out. Selling out to what? What am I selling out to? What do you unhappy about? And what Kotaku's worst take? Disgrace, sure, to Kotaku. Can they be disgraced anymore? I think that it's a disgrace to Twitter that they let something like this up on their website. I think that this is unironically a call to violence. And if I was in charge of Twitter, I would delete anything like this immediately. And if people continued to post stuff like this, I would permanently ban them and contact the authorities about it. That's what I would do. I don't think this is a joke. People have been getting killed. We've been having school shootings regularly. Millions of people have guns. There's a mental health crisis in the country. This is not good to put on. It's not good to put out there. This is fucking ridiculous. People are only supporting it because they don't like what happened. This is factually bad. It's embarrassing that anybody thinks this is okay. I'm so amazed by this. It actually, like, now that I'm talking about it more, it's making me more mad. And Congressional baseball shooter was a Bernie, bro. Nothing happy to Bernie. That's because Bernie wasn't advocating to shoot people. You understand what the difference is? Bernie never advocated to shoot people. It's a completely different fucking thing. I watched the Bernie stuff. I was a Bernie supporter. Yeah, why do you like it then? To have it for my list of likes. So I like everything. I know there's people who are dumb about this, right? I like everything here because most of the things that I like are things that I want to show on my stream later on. You see kind of what I'm saying? So, like, I just do that because it's a very good way for me to inventory things. I use it, yeah, it's basically a bookmark. I see that there's a lot of people that were angry about this and they were pissed off, etc. And don't want people to post pictures online showing where police and military are. It's shit's scary now. Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg argued this was a bad ruling. What we need is a new case with better argument. I think that this is my general opinion on this, and I've said this many times, right? Is that I think that the abortion thing is, I support abortion. I don't support Kotaku making this post, right? But I am pretty much on the same side of the fence as they are, and I think that's why it's even more important to call out your own whenever they're acting bad. I think this is awful, and yeah, I don't like it. However, I do agree with the fundamental reason why they tweeted it is because I do agree. I think that abortion is something that people should have a right to. They should be able to do that. Now, I think this does exist on a spectrum, though. There's obviously like abortions that people have. I think most normal people believe that abortions, if they're an outcome of like rape or like incest or something like that, I think most people think abortions are pretty much fine. Like, I would say 90% of people are like, okay, if you get raped and you want to abort the baby, I think that's totally okay. I would say 90 to 95% of people believe that. However, I think that you do get into a smaller and smaller circle. I did some research on this, and I looked into it. And apparently it's about like 60-40, somewhere around there. 60-40, 70-30 of people that are okay with abortion versus people that are not. This is also basically a left and a right issue, just like every single other thing is in the country, where Republicans are mainly for it, and Republicans are mainly against abortion, and Democrats are mainly for it. Not according to Texas law. What's this here? They started pushing the abortion to FAR within 9 months. Well, here's the way I see it, right? Is that people that are aborting a baby and the baby is 8 or 9 months through the pregnancy, these are people who have picked out names for the baby. They've bought clothes for the baby. They have done everything that they can. They are expecting this baby to be a part of their life for the rest of their life. And they're not aborting the fucking baby because they just decided, hey, you know what? I read the fucking newspaper and it said my zodiac sign wants me to get an abortion. They're not doing that. These are people that are aborting the fucking baby because 9 times out of 10, probably 99 times out of 100, maybe 999 times out of 1,000, it's because the kid has some sort of fucking disorder or there's something wrong with him where he's going to be paralyzed for life and he's going to live a life of misery and torture. And you know what? They put the kid out of his misery ahead of time for that. You know what? I think that's okay. It's not a good decision to make. It's brutal, man. Or it's going to kill the mom. It's less than 1%. Yes, you're talking about changing the rules and not letting people make decisions for their own autonomy inside of a 0.1%. This is not fair to everybody else. I do not like making arguments that well, there are some people that will be negatively affected by this. I don't care if it's 99% or not. That's all it comes down to. Usually the baby or the mom are going to die from birth based on what I read. Yeah, I don't think this is malice. I think it's mercy. Holy shit. Imagine having a kid that's fucked up for his whole life. Oh yeah, that's exactly what God wanted. Get the fuck out of here. It's ridiculous. I'd rather not be alive than having a disability and make my mom's life difficult until the end of time. Well, I think so too. Lots of people in the countries that people can't afford to have another baby. It's nothing weird, it's just conscious decision for the family. Well, yeah, I think there's also, there are many countries where that is the case. You're right about that, where they do it based off of economic grounds. For sure. And do you think the law will stick? I don't know. I think that there are going to be a lot of states, unfortunately, mine's one of them, that's going to try to ban abortion. And they're going to try to at least like make the amount of ways that you can get an abortion a lot smaller. It's brutal as fucking disgusting. Well, I think that this is also something that people need to take in mind. Abortion is a brutal, medieval, horrible thing. It is terrible. Like, I've seen how it's done, and I will never be able to unsee it. It is terrible. It is not a decision that people take lightly many times. It's horrible. If I showed it, here, just for, context, if I showed what it looks like to get an abortion on stream right now, I would get banned for gore. It's brutal, man. It's absolutely fucking brutal. What's your take on the dad's choice? It's often pushed aside. It's hard to say that the dad is, I think it's a family decision. You want to get into the legality of it? I don't know. I mean, I think that's not, I think that's like step 5 or 6, and we're back to step 1, That's the way that I see it. Those late abortions are gore, which aren't as common. No, I think so too, absolutely. But what I'm saying is that abortion is not something that is, it's not, people live their lives in platitudes and euphemisms where everything is nice and passive and placid and okay. It's horrible. It's a very bad thing. And I don't want anybody to think that it's not. But I still think that people should be able to make the decision. You're only referring to late-term abortions. Most Jews take a pill, have a heavy period, not violent or disgusting at all. No, you're right. But, like, in my opinion, I think that you should allow pretty much all of them. I think that 99% of the time, the truth is, guys, we live in a world of limited resources. We live in a world where not everybody can have everything. And if somebody wants to have an abortion, I think they should be able to have one. That's all it comes down to. And the vaccine is going. Yes, I saw this, and there were a lot of people that responded to my tweet here, and they said, "Well, what about vaccine mandates? Oh, where were you with vaccine mandates? When did I ever support vaccine mandates? When did I ever advocate for this? I never did this. I never said this. It's not even comparable. Even if it is, I never fucking said it." Yeah, what's to stop taking logic to extremes? A kill that you don't want taking resources. I feel like you can take almost anything to an extreme and turn it into a bad thing. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't approach it from a level-headed position and try to find a common sense middle ground of where that extreme ends. I mean, you can take almost any line of logic or any law and turn it into an extreme. Adults on a child's right to life, once their heartbeat has its own life, deserve to be protected. Well, I think to a degree, right? But I don't think that it should be protected over the woman, right? That's all it comes down to. I don't think so. And I don't really have a very emotional attachment to this kind of stuff. I've never had an abortion. I don't plan on having an abortion. If, I got a girl pregnant or something like that, it is what it is. But that's the way that I see it. And imagine today's political environment 60 years ago, and protests against polio and smallpox vaccines, so diseases would have been virtually eradicated. I don't know. We're not really talking about the vaccine thing, etc. All I'm saying is that I think that people should have a right to decide what they do with their body, and I think that's just a fundamental. How many lives deserve to be protected? How many aren't? That's the reality of the world. Yeah, I think that sometimes you have to make a choice. You have to decide. And the way that I would see it is that I think that if you want to make an argument that getting an abortion because it would be inconvenient for having a kid, I think that you can make an argument that it's a bad thing to do that, and maybe it should be limited in some way or another. I think you can make that argument. However, I don't think anybody can make any argument whatsoever. It is completely indefensible, 100%, that people can't get abortions for things like, the kid having a horrible condition or being a danger to the person's life, the woman's life that's having him. I think those are the things that just should not happen. Like, those are the things that I feel like everybody basically agrees on. You see what I'm saying? And Norway was shooting last night, 19 people injured, 2 people getting killed. Holy shit. What are your thoughts on people saying that men should be getting vasectomies as a result of this? I mean, it's what's my opinion on that? It's the exact same as what I said with the abortion thing. I think people should be able to choose what they do with their own body. It's their choice. It's the same thing. Yeah, my balls, my choice. There you go. It becomes convoluted. I don't think it's that convoluted. Conservatives, life is precious. Once they're born, they're on their own. Well, I'm not a conservative. I'm not really a liberal. I'd say I'm kind of in the middle. It depends on the issue, right? Like, I'm very pro Second Amendment, but I also think we should have universal basic income. Where does that put me on the spectrum? I don't know. But anyway, what I'm saying here is that I agree that they should have better child care. I absolutely think so. Yeah, of course. And vasectomy is reversible. Bad comparison. Sure, but people can have another kid, etc. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I can type my name. What's this here? People think it's the same argument. No, I don't think so. How is there no other way for birth control for men? There's condoms. There's plenty of different ways. There's also not having sex. I think that works. There's only, I think, one case of that not working. I think they wrote a whole book about the case whenever it didn't work. So it's probably not going to happen again, guys? It's a little bit unlikely. Because birth control for dudes. Violent masturbation right way. So yeah, it does worry me a lot. And in general, I just don't like to have people have their rights taken away from them by the government. I think that people should be able to live their life the way that they want and do what they want to do. And the government should try to stay out of it as much as possible. I think that there are times where government intervention is necessary, especially with things like regulation and large entities and large groups of people, etc. But whenever you're talking about an individual, like a one person, I think that the individual person should be able to do what they want. That's the way that I see it. You're making a pill for men so we don't need condoms. Great. Can we move on? You're just arguing against clowns again and repeating your point over and over again. Well, I'll move on whenever I feel like I'm done talking about it. Anyway, so that's the whole argument, not one person according to some. I'll read a few comments here, and then we'll probably go watch the video, okay? And I get your point about freedom of the body, but what happened to magically taking responsibility for actions? Couples fucking without protection might produce children, shouldn't be treated so lightly, it's just not that easy, and it produces horrible society with bad morals. Well, I don't find it to be a horrible society that you don't force people into having babies. I think that it's worse to do that. You bring the kid into a world that the parents didn't want them to be a part of. I think that's a pretty bad start. I don't consider this to be the morally righteous thing to do, and I think that people's own morals should be their own decision. I don't want us to have this dictated by the government. That's all it comes down to. Also, that like taking responsibility, how is it taking responsibility also not having an abortion? If you want to look at taking responsibility as an ultimate thing, then you would assume that anything that you would do in response to the action would be fundamentally taking responsibility. So I think that argument is just, at its very core, it's a flawed argument. It doesn't make any sense, and it immediately falls apart once you look at it, structurally. It's stupid. And so that's it. Let's read a few more and then we'll move on. And IQ test, proof of financial stability should be required before having a kid. Sounds like more government bullshit. I don't want to deal with that. And I'm going to be honest, Burger King drastically stepped up their ranch game. Wouldn't you agree? No, because I don't like ranch dressing. I fucking hate it. Let's see here. Any other important comments here? Check out the abortion Gallup poll over the years. People who wanted the legal, 100% or only 20% of the population. Yes, you're right. I don't think that they should be catered to at all. And did you hear QAnon is back? I can't wait to hear what he's got to say. Taking responsibility argument is to illustrate that they had an out. Well, I think everybody had an out. The thing is that I think at a certain point, whenever you have an out to something, forcing somebody to commit to a bad decision, I don't think that really helps them. It's kind of like the same argument that I have. It's not the exact same thing, but it's kind of like how I don't think felons should be able to have like this record that effectively makes it to where they can never get a job again. Like, I don't like that. I don't like the idea that, like, as soon as you have a criminal record, you will not be able to get a job again. And the reason why I don't like it is I think there are logical reasons why it's good, and it's the same thing with abortion, right? Because yes, I can see why it's a bad thing, but society will function better if this is not the case. I don't like people getting branded with a scarlet letter. I don't like people having to live something like this down for their whole life. And also, by the way, I'm not talking about, you know, some child molester working at a fucking daycare. I'm not talking about a bank robber working at Bank of America. I'm talking about people trying to just get an average job and move on with their life. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah, 18 states, it's already illegal in. Yes, exactly. And it's being canceled by the government. If women are forced to not abort, then people who agree with that should be forced to adopt the kids. That sounds like too much work. I don't think any government decision should be based on religion, and let's be honest, that's what this is. I don't think so. I think that there are people that arrive at this conclusion without religion, but I do think that most people arrive at it through religion. You're right, but I don't think it's an absolute right. Does that make sense? Really could say prisons are meant to rehabilitate felons. Once they make it back to society, they can be productive and good for everyone. Yes, I think there should be some limitations. As I said, if you're a bank robber, you shouldn't be able to go work at a bank. But other than that, I think that it should be between you and the state, and the employer should have no business knowing about it. Pussy-Rick, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. I'll go through a few more of these, and then I want to watch this video, okay? And let's see. Do you believe in burning of churches in response? No. I know I'll have to repeat this. I think that any time that you destroy property because you're not happy with a political decision, you're instantly wrong. You're instantly wrong. I don't care. It's like, oh, but I really don't like this. No, you are instantly fucking wrong. Yeah, don't burn down anything. Don't break anything. And I think if you do that, the cops should make sure that you can't do it. Absolutely, it's called domestic terrorism. Yes, 100% should be considered terrorism. I think it's probably too harsh, but in some cases you're probably right. Yeah, for sure. And any violence or destruction immediately invalidates your point. I think so, for sure. Don't block traffic either. I agree with you. I don't think people should be able to block traffic. That's ridiculous. Should be arrested for that. There are people that are trying to get to and from a fucking hospital just because your cause, you think it's important. This isn't gonna, like, I don't think this is fair. That, like, you just get to stand out there and fucking interfere with everybody else's life because you don't like something. That's not the way the world goes. Run them over? I don't want to see people get run over either. I think the cops need to go out there and fucking arrest them. That's what it is. What about all the other cult that are against abortion too? Yeah, I think that there's plenty of them. They mind their own business. Exactly. And you know how many times what's this here? I'm here today. My mom got an abortion. No, there's a lot of people that I think everybody's here today because they didn't get an abortion. You know, let's be honest. Don't politicians have a conflict of interest from having a different view of the major religious views in the U.S.? I think that the religious people in the U.S., I feel like this is my opinion on like what the whole, this is my opinion on like what's going to happen following this. I think that this is a very big moment for conservatives. I think that this is a very galvanizing, emboldening moment for conservatives. You're going to see a lot of people out there that, you know, they're protesting against it and they're very upset. But the conservatives just won. That's the fact. They just won. And there is nothing that is more motivating, nothing that makes people happier than winning. And I'm pretty sure that that's not going to go away. Is that won the battle, not the war? Well, it's I think actually, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like that kind of did happen already. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Had to be this way. I don't know. I think that there should be a law against it as well, right? Revenge is a pretty big motivator. I think so. I think there are a lot of people also who, and this is another factor, is that there's a lot of people who were very unhappy about the amount of control and constraints that were put around them during COVID and the expectation to get the vaccine and all of this stuff, right? And I think that a lot of the people are happy that Roe versus Wade is getting overturned because they view it as revenge for the COVID thing. I think that's a big factor. I've seen people say this a lot. And the thing is, you question, yes, abso-fucking-lutely. That doesn't make sense? Yes, it fucking does. Yes, if that's so fucked up. The reason why I think that is because it's stupid. That's why I know it's true. Absolutely. Yeah, people don't understand abortion were banned outright. Yes, it's stupid. That's exactly what it is. Try and make sense of these extremists. Yes. Of course that's what they're gonna think, because they look at it as revenge. They said, you want to fucking tell me what I can do with my body for the past 2 years? Well, fuck you. This is what you get. That's exactly what they're thinking. I can guarantee it. And I think that this will only embolden more conservatives and more, you know, far right and like right-wing people to get into politics and also succeed. And it will also motivate more people to go out and vote for them, because I think that people vote for who they think is going to win. I think there's a lot of people that do that. They go out, they vote for whoever they think is going to win, and right now, they just won. That's what it comes down to. Where they just want to stop baby murder? Yeah, sure, I think there's people. I do think that, while I disagree with them, I do think that there are people that come at the abortion topic from a noble perspective. They genuinely think that it's a bad thing. It actually upsets them. And yes, I think that's fair. It's important to make sure that you don't paint all of your enemies as these like evil monsters that are just like trying to kill you. Because that's not usually what it is. These are just people that have a different view on the world. They don't need to have an abortion. No, I agree with that. I think it's different. Telling women what they can do with their body is revenge for the government telling us what we can do during COVID. Yes. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yes. In the mind of those people, yes. I absolutely think so. And if you go through and you read a lot of the comments, in essence, yes. If you go and read a lot of the comments, what is the main thing that people equate to the abortion thing? Vaccine mandates. It's that simple. Because that's what they connect in their mind. Weird take. First off, I'm pro-abortion. Second, couldn't it be true that certain states are more religious than others, which makes this decision in the end more democratic? I don't like the idea that states can make certain decisions that are too drastically different than other states. I think that we're the United States of America. I don't like the idea that certain states you can go to jail for something and other states that you can completely be okay with. I don't like that. I think that it's weird. I think that it is, it makes the law seem more transparent and meaningless and easier to get around. It makes people respect the law less. It makes people respect the government less. I don't agree with that. I think states' rights do matter, but whenever you're talking about like big issues like this, I think it should be decided on a federal level. Things that alter the course of people's lives. Yeah, sure, the state can decide how much your driver's license costs, but whenever you're talking about like what the age of consent is, or what abortion laws there are, or big things like that, I think it should be decided by the federal government. Absolutely. As Constitution, many things stated in the Constitution also always work that way. That's what I think. Whole argument could have been avoided if they let everybody vote and didn't rely on what 8 people thought. I think that it's important to have the Supreme Court. I don't dislike the Supreme Court. I don't at all. I don't think this is a bad thing. There are other ways to get around it. This is one branch of government. I think that it's very important to have people that have security in their stance or in their position, and they're not beholden to the opinions of people that sway and change very regularly. I think it's a very good thing. They're currently biased, which shouldn't be. Everybody's biased. It's impossible to not be biased. You're trying to do something that's not impossible. Not be old? No, they're not. No, they're not at all. Anything that control the way you live should not be controlled by your COVID. I don't care about the COVID thing. All I'm saying is that this is what happens in the mind of these people. Does that make sense? Supreme Court decision wasn't even unanimous. No, I think there's the case true. Yeah, you're right. And Supreme Court shouldn't be partisan though. People are going to be partisan. Guys, they're not robots. Everybody is going to have an opinion on things. That's why you have different appeals. That's why you have different branches of government and like checks and balances. Everybody has biases. People just find other ways of doing abortions. Yeah, sure, but this will clearly make a lot less of them. This will clearly make it a lot harder to get abortions. If you make abortions illegal, you will reduce the amount of abortions by a substantial amount. You will absolutely do that. By a tremendous amount. Probably like 90%, at least over 50. That's it. Yeah, of course. I want her to get safe abortions. Wrong. I think that that's obviously true. Do you understand the irony of the same people who relied heavily on vaccine mandates saying they're pro-abortion because my body, my choice? There's one right there in chat. I told you guys. And for a lot of people, it is just as simple as if you think you're gonna, I'm gonna beat you because you tried to beat me. People view politics as a sports game, and it's tit for tat. If you're gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. That's all there is to it. But in return, you'll force them into back alley abortions? Yeah, but they don't give a shit about that. They think abortions are bad. And so if abortions are higher risk, I think there's plenty of people that would probably think that's a good thing because it would make people consider it more heavily. I think so. And let's see here. Supreme Court's going to be ruled females as livestock. Let's take it one step at a time, okay, man? And, bro, where are the checks and balances in the Supreme Court? Sold white men with Swiss cheese brains. There's no legislative pushback to fight this. It's broken. Well, there obviously is. Basically, what the overturning said, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, all right? I was going to go to law school, and I dropped out to play video games. So keep that in mind. I might not fully understand this, but this is what my understanding was, is that what they said, they did not make abortion illegal. They just said that the Constitution does not protect abortion. That's all they said. Am I right about this? Yeah, I think so. Yes, which is true. I think that you can make a very strong argument that it is true. So that does not mean that the federal government cannot make a law that requires this to be the case. This does not make that happen at all. We should need to amend the U.S. Constitution, which takes what? Well, you don't need to amend the Constitution to write a law, man. You don't have to do that. You need a supermajority for a federal law on abortion? Well, I think that a lot of people, and this is what I was saying before, I think that most reasonable people, and I really do mean this, I think way beyond a supermajority of people, believe that abortion should be legal in pretty much every single case, and the only case that they don't agree on is just frivolous abortions. That's the one thing that people don't really agree on. Everything else, people are pretty much on the same page with. That's what I would say. People are pretty much on the same page with this stuff, and numbers back that assertion up. Yes, there are a lot of numbers. You can look them up. I looked them up myself because I'm not saying this as in, oh, a lot of people think this. No, I looked it up, and that's what the polls show. Yeah, a lot of people are completely okay with that. What are frivolous abortions? Basically women that go out and have unprotected sex and then just have abortions if there's a baby that comes out of it, right? With like no real consequence or thought about it. That's what I mean by frivolous abortions. And some people muddying the waters. Yeah, I think so. It's not common, which is a very small percentage. I think so too. I think that it's a very small percentage as well. I think that just by making it legal, it makes it easier for most people. I don't think that people are going out and doing that regularly. And for the people that are, is it worth... Because like you always, it's effectively like a trolley problem, right? Are you going to inconvenience and fuck up 100 people's lives because there's one person who is, I think most people would probably say to some degree like morally bankrupt or morally deficient? Is it worth ruining 100 people's right to their autonomy because one person is a piece of shit? I'm going to be honest, guys. That's an easy decision for me to make. That's a very easy decision for me to make. And so it's more than one? No, collectively it is. But I'm talking about like the percentages. That's the way that I see it. That's a retarded argument. Well, why? Why is it dumb? Yeah, why is it dumb? That's it. So I'm making wild guys from 1%, not all the other casuals. Yeah, and they never got any fucking views. That's exactly what happened. And how's someone having unprotected sex morally wrong? Or your incels masturbate to porn every day? I didn't say that it was morally wrong to have unprotected sex. I never said that. You're taking what I said out of context because you're mad at the conclusion that I drew. But just talk about what I actually said rather than putting words in my mouth, okay? I never said that. Also, listen, my mods are doing a great job with this. I knew that talking about this today would be a very upsetting topic for many people. They would be angry about this, etc. And I do appreciate most of the people in chat being relatively civil about this and just expressing what they think and not being crazy about it. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It's much more pleasant to have a conversation about it in this way. Doctors are telling people that the kids are going to have disorders, but the parent decides to have the baby and it comes out perfectly healthy. So many stories of this. Yes, I'm sure that there are a lot of stories of that. I think that there are also stories of people finding meteorites in their backyard, people winning the lottery, and all kinds of crazy things happening, right? And you can look it up on YouTube and you'll see it all the time. The truth is that doctors are usually right. They're usually right. They're usually right with like a tremendous level of accuracy with stuff like this. So yeah, I don't think that you can't go and use exceptions to disprove a rule. That's not how it works. Why does anyone else care what people are doing with their lives? That's the question. Well, I agree with that. I definitely do. And problem with the trolley view is many conservatives view abortion as killing other humans, so it's ridding an inconvenience with murder. Well, that's fine. We all have there is always an acceptable level of death that is worth avoiding an inconvenience. And I know that this is not a very pleasant conversation to have, but we've all decided that with the with traffic. You take the traffic and you cut down, you make it where people can only drive 10 miles an hour, and I guarantee you, you're going to have a lot less people get killed. But you know what? People don't give a shit about that. People want to be able to do what they want. And that's all there is to it. So yes, I do think that it's a decision, and I think that there is an acceptable level of death whenever sometimes you make rules. And it's something you have to accept. Yeah, you have to accept this, and not lightly, but it's something that's true and it's real. And what's it's brutal but true? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes, it's not a hot take. It is what I specialize in is telling people things that they agree with in a way that makes them so mad that they don't agree with them anymore. They're like, we know you're right, but the way you're saying it fucking sucks, and I hate that you're saying it that way. That is the sad reality, is that you are trading people's lives away for convenience all the time, and I will continue to do it, and I think the entire society will, because everything just works better that way. That's all it comes down to. And yes, it's not a convenient thing to say, but I think it's also the truth. That's all there is to it. Topic is a lot of subtopics. One is church versus state. I don't think anybody likes seeing religion be put into law. I don't like that at all. Look at Germany's driving laws. Germany, there are speed limits all over Germany, right? Like the Autobahn isn't to all of Germany, right? I mean, there's speed limits all over Germany. Yes? Okay, so stop using that as an argument. It's stupid. Why do you have death penalty? One side and preach the value of life on another. I don't know. I think people just like retribution. Everybody loves public executions. We've had public executions for thousands of years. People love them. Like we crucify people, we burn them alive, you shoot them. There's like a million different things that people used to do, right? And it was like a big thing. People would bring out their kids to watch public executions. It was a whole party. Yeah, people love this shit. The gallows, yeah, exactly. The brazen bull, the guillotine, the hangings, yeah. People love that. Stoning, yeah. Forgot about stoning, man. Remember the good old days, back whenever you throw rocks at people until they quit moving. You know, it's nuts. We had one in our lifetime, Saddam. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and everybody was so happy whenever we killed Saddam. Everyone was like, yes, we killed him. People love public executions, man. And they always will. It's because people are animals, and animals love doing things like that. That's all there is to it. He's still alive. Oh, okay. Thanks. I didn't know that. Yeah, now we settle for getting somebody fired. Yeah, cancel culture is like the closest thing that people can get to it, but they still try to simulate the good old days, you know? That's what it was. And Sony during a soccer game, sure. Autobahn is recommended speed. I tend to say you have no restriction, but there's one recommended, though. Yeah, sure. You should hook up the speed limit point whenever you're bored. I think that there's a lot of other points like that as well. I think that there are many cases where people can do certain things, and they're not necessarily good for everybody, but, you know, people have the right to make decisions for themselves. Chat appeals are like chat appeals are public executions. You're right. And people love the content, so I think that's a great example. Nobody gets abortions recreationally. It's not fun. It's not something people enjoy. Conservatives pretend like people are out getting recreational abortions. I completely agree with you. Yes, I think that's true. I think that what happens is that this is the way media works. Is media will find the one super, like, fucking weird psycho feminist that says she's had 17 abortions and she fucking loves abortions. It's like, you know, basically, it's like Tumblr, Glee, and number 3 is abortions on her favorite things to do. So yes, that's true. Like, there are people out there that are like that. But do I want to have the whole fucking world be controlled by one fucking psycho? No, I don't. I'm like, all right, fine, write him off. That's okay. We'll deal with everybody else in the whole world. Yeah, it's a boogeyman. Most people don't do this. It's unrealistic. It's sensationalized. Exactly, it is. There's left-leaning media flaunting abortions. They even made a movie about it on Pregnant. Well, I think people can make a movie about stuff, sure. And they can make a movie about abortions. They made a movie about Hitler, too. Listen, all I'm saying is that I think people should be able to have the right to do what they want with their body. That's all it is. Anti-work, yes, exactly. But it's controlled by the insane. Same thing on both sides. You're right. I'm not. What do you think that I hate the media. Like I've always hated the media. I think the media is the enemy of the people. I think the media is a bigger agitator in society than either one of the parties. I think they're worse than the Republicans and worse than the Democrats. I think they're awful. It's like nihilistic, self-serving, in-stage capitalism. I don't like it. I'm not a fan at all. Half the women are pro-life. Did you know? The decision makes women happy too. It's not half women are pro-life, but there are a lot of them that are. I don't think this is a gender issue where it's like men are forcing women to have kids. No, there are a lot of women that also don't like abortions as well. Like 100%. And so, yeah, it's important to keep that in mind as well. What's the issue with banning frivolous abortions? I think it's very hard to draw the distinction of where you think frivolous is and it is not. Is it like, do you get like a punch card with abortions? Like, oh, well, you've only got 2 holes left, so we can only abort 2 more babies? Like, how do you really decide what's a frivolous abortion or not? I think just let people do what they want to do and don't worry about trying to arbitrate these little tiny exceptions. Yeah, it's a 3-strike rule, yeah. 3 abortions are out. You gotta have the kid the next time, okay? It's crazy. Legislating morality is usually a slippery slope. Should it try and be in line to European countries on abortion? I think there are some countries like Poland. I think it's pretty much like you're not able to get abortions in Poland except for like certain circumstances. That's what I've read. I've never been to Poland, so I could be wrong about this, but that's what I've read. So, and not just like all European countries. And Malta, yes, there's another one too. And also, I think in Egypt, it's like completely banned. I looked this up, and I think that just in general, I think just let people make the decision for themselves. I think most people will make the right decision. That's it. I think that the overwhelming majority of them will make the right decision. Abortions for most women are horrible and traumatic. It's mostly a last recourse they don't even want to go through. I think so too. I think that, yeah, like I've known people that have gotten abortions before, and yeah, they're not, it's not like, yeah, so I'm going to go get this baby aborted, and then I'm going to go to McDonald's, and then let's hit the club. Like, that doesn't, that's not the norm, guys. Yeah, it's not the fucking norm. It's not what happens, okay? Conservatives see it as a victory. It'll only make more people hate them. I disagree. I think that people, I think this is a major win for conservatives. I do. I think it's a major win for them, and it will galvanize them to continue to move forward with things. So you saw Clarence Thomas talking about, you know, maybe trying to get rid of the ruling about same-sex marriage. I don't think that's going to happen. I feel like, I feel like, for example, like with same-sex marriage, like gay marriage and stuff, for example, whenever you have like an abortion, it's like, okay, well, people are, you know, they're trying to protect the baby. There's a clear victim in abortion, right? Like the baby gets killed, the fetus gets killed. Same-sex marriage, it's just two dudes or two girls getting it on. Who gives a fuck? So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that most people are completely fine with it. I think that the obvious opinion that most reasonable people have is that same-sex marriage is a good thing, but churches should not be forced to marry gay couples or anything like that. I think that's what's fair. I do. I think that is the reasonable opinion that most people have. How do you explain them wanting to go after birth control and contraceptives next? Well, whenever you're winning, why would you stop winning? Why would you stop winning? That's what people do. Yeah, you just keep pushing it, keep trying to get more and more. You really think 60% of conservatives changed their mind on gay marriage in 10 years? It's lip service. I think that a lot of people are uncomfortable by the idea of gay marriage, but I think that reasonable people will come to the conclusion that it's not their business, even though they might not be comfortable or okay with it. So there's two different levels. There is, do you like gay marriage? Do you think this is like totally good? There are a lot of people that don't agree with that. No, they don't. But there are even more people that they don't agree with it, but they think, I'm going to let him do what he wants because I want him to let me do what I want. That's what I think it is. You think people are reasonable? Yeah, I think that a 10-minute conversation with most people, most conservatives, would lead to that outcome. Yeah, I think so. Not disagreeing with you, but it's objectively the Supreme Court's job to interpret the black and white law that doesn't protect abortion. I'm not really sure what you're trying to say. Yeah, I don't know. Abortion isn't their business either, but they suck their nose into that. Why are contraceptives and gay marriage any different? They don't care. It's because it's a harder sell, is what I'm saying, is that I think the public is much more okay. In general, I think the public is much more okay with gay marriage than they are with abortions. Because there's no clear victim in gay marriage, whereas there is in an abortion. That's why. So yeah, that's my opinion. Is that what's going to happen? I don't know. I think we'll find out. What's this here? My take is legalize it, push propaganda against it, work for cigarettes, drugs in Portugal, could work for abortions. I think everybody knows that abortions are not a cool, fun thing. Yeah, I think people already know that. There's a male birth control pill, had side effects similar to female hormonal birth control. So they said it was too unpleasant to mess with male hormones, so it didn't get past testing. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can still wear a condom, right? It's still legal to murder someone for being inconvenient. Wouldn't the murder just be legal? I don't know about that. I think that, again, like, I was a supporter of the death penalty. Like, I don't really place a lot of value on human life. You just have more people, right? People die. They're born every day. I don't place a huge amount of value on human life, right? It is what it is. I am a supporter of the death penalty, but the thing is that it costs more money to kill somebody. So why would you do it? Why would you waste your money? Just to make people happy and make them feel good? Fuck that. It's a waste of everybody's money. Yeah, I looked this up. No, it's not. So, like, I didn't believe this. I actually looked this up yesterday, and I learned this yesterday. It's the appeals process. The appeals process to make sure that you attain absolute certainty that a person should be killed is so long and so expensive that it is literally cheaper to just keep them in jail. And I do think that somebody deserves to have an appeal. If you're going to kill somebody, you better be damn sure you're killing the right person. So that's why. And yeah, Shimon had. No, it's not about the fucking... It's not about the way that you kill them. It's about everything that leads up to the chair. It's about everything that leads up to that point. It's paperwork. It's lawyer fees. It's processing. It's filing. That's why. That's never clean cut. No, I don't think so. They want babies to live, but they don't care what happens to them after they're born. I think there's plenty of people that do care what happened to them after they're born, but I think that what you're saying is generally true. Yes. We have a lot of privatized for-profit jails. Prisoners make people money, sadly. You know what I would do if they put me in charge? I would take all the people that run the for-profit prisons, and I would charge them for human trafficking. And I would take all of the people that took money that ensured that they would have a minimum population, and I would charge them for treason and human trafficking. I would be done with it. I'm a big believer in, maybe not literally, but, you know, metaphorically, shutting this shit down in the public in front of everybody to make sure people know this is not okay. Yeah, absolutely. And you be in court forever? No, probably not. And prisons are real-life Diablo Immortal. And what's this here? Why leftists? Not for the death penalty, but call for the death of landlords and police? Well, because they want to kill those people and not the other people. Isn't it obvious? So you're making the fatal mistake of trying to assume logic. There's no logic. Everything is self-serving. Everything is self-serving. It's a straw man. Yes, it's a straw man. I think so. Unless we could let out all the non-violent drug offenders. I mean, come on. Oh, I agree with you. I would do that immediately. Again, if it was up to me, I would make it to where using all drugs are illegal and distributing them is what's illegal, because I don't like the idea that addicts are treated like criminals. I think it's bad. I think it causes people to not seek help and rehabilitation, and it costs the country money. The thing is that every person who pays taxes should agree with me on this. Do you know how much fucking money we spend just to put some loser junkie in jail for 5 years or 6 months? It's our fucking money. We're setting it. Oh, great. Oh, wow. You know, Todd. Oh, man. We've got to put Todd in jail. Oh, no. Yeah, he's smoking weed. There's $20. That's gone. That could have been a fucking 5-star gym out of a rift. And now you're fucking doing that instead. You waste money defending school shooters. Everybody deserves their day in court, even a school shooter. Thankfully, I think the guy killed himself. Best thing he did. And I wanted that $20. Yeah, I know. Starving people could have eaten that $20. Absolutely. And Johnny Still Kids, yeah, it's contradiction. Legalize all drugs, take the money get paid by cops to pay safe injection clinics. There's a lot of things they should do differently. Smart for the 5 to the subs. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. The drug war has been a war that's caused most damage to our country, but the cartels, they love it. Of course they do, because they can still sell they can sell drugs at a huge fucking premium. Like it's like it's a lot of fucking money for some of these drugs. It is insane, absolutely fucking ridiculous. School shooters deserve jail, not death penalty. They were a very bad time in jail. Well, it just costs more money. Like I don't want to spend a bunch of money on this stuff, right? That's all there is to it. What drugs would you legalize? I would legalize every single drug. I would legalize the usage of every single drug, because I think that most people that use those drugs, even if at the beginning they use them because they're morons, I think they turn into victims. I think that it ruins their life. There are not a lot of people that have been using fentanyl for a year or something like that, and they go to work and everything's fine. Most of these people turn into literally like the Wizards in Suramar. Desert Island Sales to 5 good subs. I appreciate that. Yes. They literally turn into Wizards and Suramar. And Crocodile. They turn into fucking, like, little fiends. Like, it turns you into an animal. It removes your humanity. I think it's awful. 100 fucking %, it's awful. Most prisons are self-sustaining by forcing the inmates to slave work and sell their products. Oh, I think that it's totally fine. If somebody is like a murderer and they're in jail, I think, yeah, force them to work. Why not? Fuck them. That's what you get. Yeah, I don't care about that. Look at LEAP. It stands for Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. I think that most, in my opinion, I think that most police officers probably would want that too. Because it makes their lives a lot harder. It makes them have to deal with problems that, in many cases, they don't really need to deal with. There are a lot of legitimate big problems and, like, actual cases that they need to solve, and they're too busy fucking dealing with, Carl, who's selling weed at a high school. Who gives a fuck? Who's smoking weed at high school? Who gives a fuck about this? Doesn't matter. It's not ruining the world. It's crazy. As I said, I like talking about this kind of stuff. I know some people, it might bother them or they might not like it, etc. But I do like talking about this stuff. And I want to say also that a lot of you guys in chat today have been really cool about this. You guys have been really cool. There hasn't been a lot of spurgery. There hasn't been a lot of popping off or getting mad or going crazy. And I have to say that I appreciate it. I think you guys have done a great job. And, yeah, I do. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys for not being fucking nuts and making this unpleasant to talk about. Yeah, thank you very much.